In the last video, we installed new valve cover gaskets on the front and rear valve covers on the 06 Avalon. In this video, we button everything up, install new spark plugs, and find it a new home. So it is the next morning, and I'm gonna go ahead and torque down all the 10 millimeters. And now the 12s. Something I really didn't mention when I was doing the rear cover is this little cover here, and I didn't remove it at all. It's flexible enough that I just pulled it back like this to remove and install the cover. Just a quick note. So now I'm gonna try and knock out the spark plugs. I'm sure it needs it, and I have access to them. So I come behind that harness. There's so much oil in these holes that I'm gonna stuff these towels in there, and hopefully it'll soak some of it up. I'm gonna do this for all the spark plugs.
You know you don't get in trouble for that. Yeah, I dodged dart when I was in.
So now I'm gonna put the new spark plugs in. It's essentially the same length, but having two short extensions makes it a lot easier to put it in. Who that is?
Daddy.
Well, we had a lot of visitors today.
I know. I was walking up and as soon as I see you here, there's another.
The last one for the back. Ugh, it's nasty. Did I take this one out? I don't know.
No, it's in there.
I didn't think I did. Yeah. Had to take a brief detour because the socket insert for the cheap spark plug socket that I used when I was at my mother-in-law's house was still on the top of the spark plug. But now we're golden. I'm using Denso IKH 20TT spark plugs. All right, and that is the last spark plug. So now I'm just putting in the ignition coils, and I have one ignition coil that I'm gonna replace because the boot came off. So I'm gonna put the good ones in the back. The new one I've already installed, I'm putting it in the back, along with some other ones that are good. I'm just gonna put the one that I'm gonna replace up front. And the last one, put the screws in. Keep saying screws, they're bolts. So now I have to reposition all the section of the harness that connect back here. All these connectors that connect to the ignition coils and the valve cover over here. And just make sure everything goes back the way it was. And the camera angles back here are terrible, but that's just to kind of give you an overview of what I'll be doing. About to reinstall this with two new washers. One here, and one that goes between the banjo bolt and the valve cover. And now I see why I dropped this one. Now I'm gonna put this at, what was it, 48 foot-pounds? Really? They want it this tight. And while we're in the banjo bolt mood, I got the torque wrench set. Might as well knock this one out. One that can be easy to forget is right back in there. There's a bracket back there that is essentially this, but on the rear side. Yeah, I almost forgot it. And it's hard to get to. So I'm putting the one that I'm gonna replace right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I get a code like a P304 or something like that, we'll know why. Is the old plug in there still? Part of the old connector is still in the ignition coil. It wouldn't go in because the old connector still had a piece in there. My goodness. And now we're good. I almost forgot the little ground point that goes over here. I might have even said that I might forget this one because it is out of the way and easily forgotten. But this one right here is right up front. You can see it. And we just verified that we could get the cowl back on with the intake manifold installed. So if I ever do this again, the cowl is coming off first. It makes things so much easier. And this guy went right here. Where did all these guys go? Looks like you wanted to go here. I've been waiting to put this one back on. All right, now time for the air box. This one goes there, and these guys go here. And then that top connector, that top tube. Let's see. Okay, push it on there a little more. There it is. And then these go to the windshield wiper. So I think after we do the alternator and the bolts on the intake manifold, we can start it. So now I'm gonna reconnect the parts of the alternator harness that I took off. This. Yeah. One last thing.
And we're finally done.
So after burning off all the oil that got into the cylinders from the leaking gaskets, we took a trip to the hardware store to pick up a new bolt.
Nice.
So we're walking in the hardware store with Lance, and he's gonna find a bolt. And the only hint I gave him was that it was metric, and it was a M6 by 1.0. It is?
Holy moly.
Hey.
M6. C.
M6.
M6 by 1.0.
.0.
Yeah, this is
It is gonna happen, man. You'll find your way. Match it up with the right length and everything.
Is it not right? No. Yeah, that'll work. Cool.
And we're gonna put in our new, same size but different color bolts. Nice. 2GRFE. There we go. I also noticed that the coolant was low, so I decided to top it off and bleed the system. It was taking forever to bleed. So I thought, as long as this was the highest point and I let the engine run, it would bubble out and bleed. But it didn't. It was taking forever to bleed. So I did a little research and came across a video where a guy hooked a tube to the bleeder there and ran it to the bleed funnel. And then he held the RPMs at 2,000 RPM until these big bubbles were gone and there was a constant flow of coolant coming out of the tube. And then he removed the tube and closed the bleeder. And with that, the coolant was topped off and bled. Part of me wishes I would have drained everything and put fresh fluid in, because notice it wasn't that bright pink color, but it was clear. Maybe down the line, I'll recommend a flush. So at this point, it was time to button everything up and drive the car. Even though we believe we fixed everything, we hadn't driven it enough for all the emissions tests to run. So I drove the car around for a day, checked it again, and it was good to go. So I went and got the car inspected, and then I signed it over to its new owner. His name is Gary, and he is Lance's older brother. I hope he enjoys it, because I believe this is an excellent first car. He's just a few houses down, so I'll be keeping an eye on it. There will be more projects similar to the Avalon. If you would like to follow along, hit subscribe. If you would like to see how I got the Avalon and got it to this point, check out the playlist. Thanks for watching. Take care.